Good morning. So glad that you could join me on this rainy, overcast day here in Broward County for some mindfulness lessons and a little bit of meditation and kavanah, that is intention. Some of you might be old enough to remember a book that was rather popular in the 1960s. It was called Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. Remember that book? Here's a passage from it. The planet has, or rather had, a problem which was this. Most of the people living on it were unhappy for pretty much most of the time. Many solutions were suggested for this problem, but most of these were largely concerned with the movement of small green pieces of paper, which is odd because, on the whole, it wasn't the small green pieces of paper that were unhappy. Now, I have something else I want to read to you from Mindfulness by Mark Williams and Danny Penman. I'm going to read this, and what we're going to do actually a little mindful exercise, mindful stretching after this. But before we do that, again, I want to share with you something from the book called Mindfulness. It's about the spirit in which you do things. You know, the spirit in which you do things is as important as the act itself. Well, this is what we read here today. A traveler to a small Greek island once watched as a young boy tried to persuade the family donkey to move. The boy had vegetables to deliver, and he had carefully loaded them up on the animal. But the donkey wasn't in the mood for moving. The boy became more and more agitated and started to raise his voice at the donkey, standing in front of him and pulling hard on the rope. The donkey dug in its hooves firmly, very firmly. This tug of war might have gone on for a long time if it wasn't for the boy's grandfather. Hearing the commotion, he came out of the house and took in the familiar scene at a glance. The unequal battle between donkey and human. Gently, he took the rope from his grandson. Smiling, he said, "When he's in this mood, try it this way. Take the rope loosely in your hand like this. Then stand very close beside him and look down the track in the direction you want to go. Then wait." The boy did as his grandfather had told him, and after a few moments, the donkey started to walk forward. The boy giggled with delight, and the traveler watched as animal and boy trotted off happily, side by side, down the track and around the far bend. Sometimes when we're up against a problem and we're trying a certain solution, we get locked into that solution. We dig our heels in. We double down trying to make whatever challenge that is before us yield with that same technique. And we get angrier and angrier, and we usually don't get anywhere. I've always, or often, have noticed that if I take a breath and I stand back for a while, maybe even do something completely different, maybe give it a day, maybe just say, I'm going to get back to that tomorrow because there is no solution that I can see right now, that when I calm down, I am more apt to see another way out of the dilemma, whatever the dilemma might be. The way you do something, the frame of mind in which you do something is as important in many cases as the act itself. There was an experiment done with university students, and this was the experiment. The experiment was doing a maze. You know those mazes you put you have to either get to the middle or get out of the middle of the maze and without lifting up your pencil. You remember those little puzzles? Well, the group of university students was split into two groups with the exact same puzzle, except Group A at the end, at the exit of the puzzle, on the exit of their puzzle, had a piece of delicious-looking cheese. Okay, so you're supposed to be like this mouse, right, trying to get out of the maze, and at the end of the maze, piece of cheese. Now, on the other puzzle, instead of a piece of cheese, there was a fierce-looking owl. And you know, owls like to eat mice, right? So, anyway, both groups worked on their puzzles. And both groups finished their puzzles in about 2 minutes. Now, immediately following this exercise with the puzzles, the groups were given tests to find out how that tested creative solutions. They were given a test following on the heels of doing those mazes. They were given a test that tested their creative abilities. Now, the group that saw the cheese, a kind of a positive symbol, they did 50% better on finding creative solutions than the group that had a rather negative, a rather foreboding and threatening symbol. That was the owl. So we can see that when you feel threatened, when you feel angry, when you feel tense, you are less likely to see a solution. You're less likely to see options. And that is why, or one of the reasons we meditate. That's one of the reasons why we try to stay as much as possible in a mindful state of mind, so we can see with an open heart and an open mind what is actually in front of us, rather than being all tensed up and closed off. Now, so I wanted to share that with you this morning, and I also want to share with you an exercise, a physical exercise. I know we haven't done much of that together. I don't know if we've ever done any of that, but I'm going to invite you to do a very simple, mindful exercise with me this morning. Now, you're going to have to stand up for this. I moved the camera angle back, so I hope my head doesn't disappear in this shot, but at least you'll be able to hear my voice. So stand in bare feet or socks with your feet about hip width apart and more or less parallel to each other. Just stand there like this. The back is straight, but not stiff. The head is balanced and the shoulders relaxed with your hands down by your sides. So you're just standing like this. Okay? Now remember, it's very important to be gentle with yourself and to do these stretches, these exercises, gently. And this is not something to force. This is not a competition. This is something just to experience mindfully. Okay, now, if you have a physical problem, with your back or any other part of your body, you might really want to be very gentle or with this exercise, or maybe not even do it at all. Now, as you're standing, I'm going to move my chair back so I can do this with you. As you're standing, your shoulders back a little bit, your back straight, your hands just at your sides. Notice how your feet are in contact with the floor under you. You might want to just bend the knees a little bit if that's comfortable. Now, on an in-breath, slowly and mindfully raise your arms out to the side until they're parallel with the floor. On another breath, continue to raise them slowly and mindfully until your hands are above your head and your palms are turned to each other. Stretch upward, feet firmly on the ground. Okay, this is how we do it. On the in-breath, just notice everything that's happening. With your eyes open or closed, it doesn't matter. Just slowly lift your arms up to your side, up to the side of your body, till they're more or less parallel with the ground. Notice everything that's happening in your body. Now on the out-breath, continue to raise them until they're over your head, palms facing each other. And gently stretch. Notice what's going on in your spine. Notice what's going on in your arms and your shoulders. Look upward as you stretch. Take a breath, and now on the out breath, let your hands, your arms slowly go in the other direction toward the ground. And just notice what your body is feeling right now. Notice your breath. Notice subtle changes. And now we're going to do another simple, easy stretch. Now, Again, put your feet flat on the floor. And on the in-breath, lift up your right hand to the side. And on the out-breath, let it reach upward and look upward, keeping your left hand at your side. And now, pretend you're picking fruit. You might lift your left heel off the ground as you reach up with your right arm. Don't force it, but just feel the stretch. Notice everything that's happening. And on an out breath, let your right hand come down to your side. What are you feeling in your body now? Now we're going to pick fruit with our left hand. On an in-breath, lift up your left hand. And on an out-breath, let it reach up above you. Look up, stretch, and perhaps lift up your right heel. As you lift up your left arm, and take a breath, and then slowly let your left arm come down, your right heel come down to the ground. What are you feeling? What sensations do you have in your body? And now take your seat. Oh, I hear the rain's coming. Now, we're going to do some shoulder rolls. First, raise the shoulders toward the ears as far as they'll go. Then allow them to move backward, moving the shoulder blades toward each other and letting the shoulders drop down completely. Squeeze them together in the front of the body as if you were trying to touch them together. Again, up and then back, letting the breath determine the speed of the rotation. Breathe in the first part of the rotation, then out in the second part. Now do it in the other direction. Back, up, and then down. And now return to stillness. Become aware of any and all sensations, the after effect of doing these stretches and sensations of the breath moving freely in and out of the body. Close your eyes for a moment. We're going to continue with some of these exercises tomorrow, these stretches. In the meantime, if you're feeling tense, if you're feeling kind of stuck in a certain dilemma, move back from it a little bit. Take a breath and do some of these exercises. I'm going to introduce another one to you tomorrow. Get centered with your body. And then return to a place of stillness. Take a deep breath and release it. Take another deep breath. Release it. One more. Open your eyes. Stretch a little bit. Pick some fruit. Well, I hope you have a good day. Maybe you take a walk in the rain. Feel the raindrops on your face. In the meantime, Boker Tov, Boker Or, and remember to smile and to bring a smile to the face of at least one other person that you encounter sometime today. See you soon.